Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the post-fight with Stormybman for this Saturday turning Sunday morning, April 10th, 2022, and we are here to discuss boxing that took place on April 9th. Several cards, once again, all on the same day, some overlapping, ridiculous. You had the Triple G fight from Japan against Murata very early this morning, or yesterday morning now. Then this evening, you had the Ryan Garcia against Emmanuel Tago fight, then Michaela Meyer fight against Jessica Hahn on ESPN, and then ultimately the Erickson Lubin Sebastian Fundora fight on Showtime. And it has been a marathon of boxing today. We got a chance to see some blazing action. We got a chance to see some boring action. But it all has come to completion, and we're here to talk about it. I'm supposed to have someone join me on here this evening. I don't know if that's going to take place, but it's going to be a very interesting look going forward for the 154-pound division, the junior middleweights, super welterweights. There's so much talent stacked in that division. Is simply amazing. Amazing what's going on there. But I'll tell you, it's great for the sport because we're going to see, some very talented men facing off against one another in the very near future. So we embrace that. We embrace it totally, and we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you, it's special. It's special when you can see high caliber fights with quality opposition, challenging one another. Nothing like it in the sport of boxing. Want to take a moment and start welcoming the people that have come into the building. We had Young World out there joining us. Salute to you, Young World. One of the brothers that's always supporting Stormy's channel. Glad to see you out there. Coming out here supporting. We got MPWTF in the building saying salute sensei and chat family. What a fight. And smash the like button on the way in. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Chi-Town's finest, my man, is in the building. Hope you're doing well, Chi-Town. Mike Biggs Boxing is in the building saying salute. Salute to you as well, Mike Biggs. My man JC, channel member, is out there with the emojis. Once again, I appreciate that. When you show the emojis, you're showing love, and you're also showing the way for members to light the path for those who are following. Yes, sir. William Old School Art, and another staunch supporter of the channel. I appreciate you, William. How you doing, brother? He says, salute Stormybman, my brother, my teacher. Windy City Assassin is in the building this evening saying, salute, Sensei. Great fights tonight, except for Ryan versus Tago. Yeah. And Underground Asylum has joined us saying, salute, Sensei, in chat. Yeah. Cheese All Out Fitness. That's a new face out there. He's saying salute to you. Andrew Gray is in the building as well. Windy City is saying Lubin didn't use any footwork or upper body movements. Plus, he was up on everyone's scorecards at the time of the stoppage. Alvin Davis is in the building saying salute. Dwayne Jones is back saying bless up from the mighty ATL. And 9 Mile Players, another new face out there saying salute Stormy, salute to you. Jay Gibson in the building saying salute to Stormy B-Man and the family. And the rest of you brothers saluting one another. I appreciate everybody who has decided to come in and tune in to the post-fight show. Yeah. So as we are here now, and we're here to talk about, you know, the card that just wrapped up, Lubin versus Fundora. I had a feeling this fight was going to go like it did. I wasn't expecting double knockdowns, but I did expect Fundora to overwhelm Lubin. There was just something about Lubin's style in my mind that said that he may not have the answers of how to resolve, how to deal with Lubin. However, he had a breakthrough during the fight in which he was able to put Fundora down and thus began the blueprint for what to do with this man. And that's what I had always felt to begin with. But it's like until someone is able to actually execute, you never know. And I'll get into that more in a moment. But salute to Erickson Lubin for the performance he put on, the damage that he took in this fight. That man has his boxing life taken off of his career tonight with the type of injuries and damage that he sustained. You never like to see that, but he was trying to tough it out. I do believe that his cornermen who work cuts and things of that nature, not the trainer, but the cut men and everything, I think they were subpar. They were very subpar because you get on a fighter's swelling early and you wipe it away from the eyes. You do things, you use Answell, you use cold compress. I didn't see a lot of that. I saw an ice bag, and the ice bag was brought in after the swelling had mounted. I'm just, I just kind of like, I cringe when I see things that could be handled a lot differently, and it's not worked out, it's not ironed out, and it's like that was the reason for the stoppage. He not had some better people been in, like Stitch Duran, if someone like that was in his corner or whatever, he could have saved Lubin being able to continue in the fight. What was it, around round 5 or 6 that we saw the big lump that was in between his eyes and everything? I mean, come on, man. Come on. They have now created multiple devices to deal with cuts and swelling in the corner. Not devices for cuts, but for swelling, because you could get particular type swelling in your face There are things called knot blockers. There are answells. There's almost like a metal plate that you could put. Some have even taken to having masks formed for the shape of the fighter's face that's metal and it's packed in ice, and you put it on his face between rounds, and it's supposed to alleviate the swelling areas when it's formed to fit the fighter's face. I never saw an answell in Lubin's corner. I never saw a knot blocker. A knot blocker it's almost like a round piece of metal that has a little bit of a shape to it. You can put it around the eyebrows, under the eye, in between that area where he had that swelling between his eyes, the bridge of the nose area, right between the eyebrows. And you can slip it on your finger like a um, ring. You can slip it on your finger like a ring. So the coach or trainer, once he's packed it in ice and it's very cold, he put it on his finger and get out there and press. The cut man or whoever's using it can put it on there. And I don't mean to sound like I'm being overly critical, but we're talking about the difference between a win and a loss here in a fight that both men were competing at a high level, and Fundora could have lost the fight if he was swelled up like that or whatever, if his people weren't up to handling it. So these are the type of things I talk about it all the time. Why is it that I know this? I'm mentioning to you who are out there listening to me this evening things that were not in Lubin's camp. Why? He's a top 10 contending fighter in the sport of boxing, in the weight class in which he competes, and you should be ready. You're on national TV. You millions of people are watching you around the world. You're not ready. And I'm not talking about Lubin. I'm talking about the people that are there to help you. They get paid money, folks. They get paid money. Do you know a cut man who can stop the bleeding? You're not going to necessarily stop the cut from opening more or whatever, but you can stop the bleeding. There's an art to that. The man who's able to stop the bleeding can help you make it to the final bell if the guy don't knock you out. But too much blood, and a doctor could say, that's it. You know what I mean? So this is the type of thing that we're talking about here. Millions of dollars being at stake. Lubin worked his way back 6 fights after losing to Jamel Charlo in an embarrassing first-round knockout, just to come back to this. And Mr. Cunningham did a very good job in the corner as far as his coaching and everything. And glory be to he for having the sensibility to stop the fight. But boy, he should be ripping a new one to his cut men that assisted him and get rid of all of those guys. Get rid of them. Because anybody can pour you water. Anybody can slap some grease on your face. But there is a particular way to handle abrasions and things that happen. It's almost like a makeup artist, to be honest with you. And if you don't have those kind of capable people, you can lose. And you lose simply on those merits. Lubin wasn't knocked out. He was just battered in the face that it's like, you know what? Mr. Cunningham looked at that and like, you know what? This kid has a family. He has a life outside of boxing. As I've stated those things, haven't I, in the past? And he looked at that man and he stopped the fight. These are the type of things, again, they're not popular. They're not something that someone wants to hear. Even in light of losing in this manner, it's like that's something that nobody wants to hear right now. But I'm telling it like it is. Telling it like it is. And you think the man looked bad right now. Wait till tomorrow or Monday morning. His face looks like a Picasso painting. And I'm not saying that for jokes. I'm not saying it to get a laugh for anybody. I'm saying it, it's like he was really damaged. And I hope that he is okay physically behind everything, because it even looks like he may have something going on with his jaw. But we'll find out, you know, if they want to disclose what's happening, you know, with him going forward. But hey, man, it's a rough sport. I'm telling you, it's a rough sport for our entertainment, for a man to take such a battering like that. It's tough. But hey, let me get to the part where I was saying about what breakthrough Lubin had in the fight. Erickson Lubin has power. He has good, decent power on his punches for a 154-pounder. The problem being, earlier in the fight, he was throwing singles. And Fundora is the type of fighter that he can take a good shot. He can. So when you find that you can lay hands on him, you have to hit him with combinations. You can't just throw your best shot, your Sunday punch, boom, and think that's going to get him up out of there. No, you hit him with 4 or 5 of them and get the hell out of there and make him start over, reset. Once you start running, I call that, when you're letting the combinations fly, running the numbers. Once you start running the numbers on a fighter, you offset their rhythm and you can make them tentative, because when you run your numbers, you never run the same set all the time. It might be a 3-punch combo in one moment. It might be a 4 to 5 punch combo in another moment. And then every once in a while, you have to run a series of combos. One of the examples that I like to give is, like, if you ever saw the fight between Evander Holyfield and George Foreman, in that, I think it was the 7th or 8th round, when Holyfield loaded up with a couple of left hooks to George's body, and he banged George really hard, solid to the body, and George went to put his arms down to block those body shots, and then Evander came up top to the head, and he came up like with a 1, 2, then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He just let loose on George, and George was like, just taking it, because he thought at some point Evander was going to stop, but it ended up being, I don't remember if it was somewhere between a 12 to 17 punch combination that Evander let loose on George. And of course, after that combo, he had to get his rest and get his wind back and everything. But it seemed like he wasn't going to never stop punching him. When Lubin dropped, Fundora in that, what was that, the 7th round? Yeah, when he dropped Fundora in that 7th round, he let loose a series of punches. It was not 1 or 2. I think he threw like 5 punches and got Fundora down on the canvas, because he followed up and followed up and followed up until the guy went down. That's what you call chopping the tree down. Not with one shot. And through most of the fight, he was pleased with landing that single shot. but you have to open up. And when you open up with punches like a fighter who can punch like Lubin, if you're the guy on the receiving end, you have to cover up. You have to start moving and get the hell up out of there because he's got fire and he don't know shots. And you don't know how many he's going to throw. So it's that type of thing that puts you in the loop of, understanding that. Let me go back to the chat for a moment. We had a couple more people fall into the building. Let's see. Going back. My man, Big Homie Coop is out there. Says, salute. I'm late, Sifu. Backsmack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention. And salute to all the family in the chat. Rashid Rourke has joined and said, Lubin hung tough. Much respect to him. Windy City says, you're right. Mediocre cut men. Yeah. Big Homie says, the Lubin fight was cringe-worthy. Rashid is saying, peace and respect to everyone. Same thing to you, brother. He says, right, Stormy B, man. Who knows what would have happened if they had been able to control the swelling? Absolutely. You have to understand that along with that swelling and trauma to his face, that's psychological pressure too, because you're fighting under that duress. It's not being taken care of. You think he can't feel the swelling and see that his face is lumped up there, and he can see the jumbotron too. Come on, man. Come on. You gotta get better. You gotta get better. Huh? Windy City says Gary Russell uses the mask. Yeah. Picasso says, Stormy B, man, the Russells invented that. Talking about that mask. Rashid said he was winning the fight. Big Homie says, that lump made him look like a Klingon. His corner was unprepared, to say the least. Just like Mike Tyson's people over in Tokyo. Mike had knocked so many people out in a couple of rounds and everything, but he had gone the distance in a few fights. But they never thought about that. They never thought about that. So they didn't pack any swells. They didn't pack anything to deal with cuts or swelling or anything. And it's like, hey, amateur night in the corner, huh? KP from KC says, man, I was pissed watching that fight. He's like, how in the hell is he making 154? That kid is skinny as a reed. It's not, he don't have a lot of density to his bones. Young World says, cook Big Storm. And Big Homie says his corner didn't stop it until the cheek swelled up also. Yeah, he may have had a lot going on under there. He could have had fractures. You don't know. That's why you have to, take care of that. Rashid Rourke says, excellent coaching. Picasso says, yep. An MMA friend got cut over the eye, and he put super glue on it, and I think he went to the finals and won. Derek Bailey's in the building saying, salute to Stormy B, man. Salute to you. William is saying, exactly, Stormy B, man. A cut man is basically an artist. Lubin had amateurs, bar none. Young World says, yes, sir. Picasso says, a real Picasso painting. Yeah. Thrill Hill is in the building saying, salute, Stormy B. Salute to you. William says, someone said a broken orbital in the face and a broken jaw. Wow. I hope it ain't all of that, because that's a whole lot to deal with, man, and a whole lot of pain. That boy gonna be on painkillers for 6 months. Yes, sir. Silvestro is out there saying, Stormy, what's good? What's good with you, Silvestro? Good to see you back. Big Homie says, Lubin forgot about going downstairs after a couple of hooks and uppercuts from Fundora. He should have been prepared for that from the beginning. Listen, he forgot the basics in chopping down a tree. You kill the body and the head dies. He was supposed to go to that kid's body like nobody's business, but not languish on the inside where it was the kid's strength. That's Fundora's strength, languishing on the inside. Simply by doing the no-no, he found himself on his ass in the first round. The first round. I would like to take him to the gym and put a projector up and just show him the no-nos and how he just fell into all of that, which led to what ended up ultimately as a bad night for Lubin. But it didn't have to go that way. I thought he was going to try to be a little bit smarter, but after a couple of rounds, I could see, I'm like, you know what? It's very difficult to tell these young people stuff today, man. Young people just think they know every damn thing. You know? They think they know. Yeah. Back to the chat. Sylvester says Lubin got wrecked by Fundora. Damn. Was a bit surprised, but I knew this would be a very risky fight for him. Only because he was undisciplined. Only because of that. Fundora is not necessarily the better fighter, but he won. And he won on his strengths. Lubin lost on his weaknesses and some bad cornermen as far as taking care of his injuries. Yeah. Yeah. Khan Shanery says Lubin was scoring well through the fight, but took too much damage to continue. Yeah. Jeff, the producer in the building, saying, Storm, what's good with you, Jeff? Big Texas, ATX Cletus Smith says, Lubin, F my money, not listening to his trainer. Hey, man, it was tough. Antonio Hambrick in the building saying, salute, Sensei. Yeah. Mark Booker's in the building. Shadow 979. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Khan Shanery says, Lubin's face looked like Billy Collins' face after being assaulted by Luis Resto back in the 80s. He was an untreated, wounded animal. Kamara, the Stepping Razor, says, man, I was hella disappointed in Lubin's corner. Yeah. Shakers and Dice is back saying, salute, Stormy, salute to you. Sylvester says, Lubin tactically wasn't prepared or had the experience to deal with an awkward boxer like Fundora. Not the best matchup for him, in my opinion. Yeah. Khan Shanri says it's about body mass, but Fundora might have some opportunity to move up a few classes later. And Kamara says Lubin's corner was hella slow after every round. No ice to his face after rounds. Slow to put water on his face, shaking my head. Listen, man, you have to know an experienced corner means a lot. Do you now know why someone like, and I'm just giving this as an example, don't think I'm supporting or anything, but when Tyson Fury went into his fight with Deontay Wilder, he had people in his corner like Freddie Roach, you know, his regular trainer, and you know, it's like he had multiple experienced people in his corner. And that's all because they can even come together as a committee during the rounds, the cut men and stuff, and they give each other pointers. Hey, when he comes back, you take care of this. I'll take care of that. Blah, blah, blah. It's like a football team. When your coaches, when the plays are being run on the field and you got coaches on the sideline with their clipboards and they're standing with their assistants and everything, talking about the plays that's working, the plays that's not working, breaking things down, running messages back and forth. Boxing has that. You don't see it because you're watching the fighters. But if you don't have good cornermen, and I'm not talking about the trainer, the coach, I'm talking about everybody that you see escorting that fighter to the ring, the men that are carrying the buckets, the men who have, smelling salts, the Q-tips, the towels, the cotton balls, all this stuff, man. It's a team, but only one performer, and you gotta be ready. Do you know when Beyonce goes on stage and performs at her concerts and everything, when she goes in between sets and has to change her outfits, there's people waiting to rip the one she got off and put the other one on real quick. It's like they're doing it under time, just like a cornerman got 60 seconds or less to refreshen and replenish his fighter when he sends him out there for the next round. Yeah. It's a teamwork, it's teamwork. I see you out there, 503. Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. 503. I wanted to have someone on with me. Would you be interested in coming on with me? I can send you a link if you're interested. Because I wanted to have someone to bounce, thoughts and ideas on. That's why I'm reading so much of the chat. So if you're interested, I could send you the link. You just let me know if you want it or not. Please smash the like button as you come in, people. Smash that like button. I was waiting to hear back from 503 if he's still out there, because I know sometimes people just come through and hit the like button and they keep it moving. So, okay, let's see here. Got my man G5 Gabe out there. What's good with you, G5? Thank you for accepting the invite, man. How you doing?
OG Stormy. I'm good. OG. How about yourself, man? What a night. What a night.
I know, right? And I'm, I'm kind of fired up, to talk about the bouts because there's plenty to talk about. You know what I mean?
Man.
But it's a lot to process, but at the same time, I don't know how long you've been, listening to the show, from the beginning or just popped in, or I don't know. But I've been talking about the significance of having quality cutmen and cornermen, not the coach, but the assistants who are helping you through the process, especially if you're at the top of the sport. And I consider Lubin a fighter who's at the top of the sport. He's in the top 10, you know what I'm saying? In his division and weight class. They were very amateur-like there, and they weren't prepared.
Man. Yeah, the higher your competition goes, you're not gonna go through a fight where you go unscathed, where nobody's gonna land a flush shot on you. You never know when the skin may break, and you might just happen to have a nice boo-boo on your eyebrow or on your orbital bone or any other places. And here you need a Stitch Duran or somebody in your corner, somebody who is seasoned in working with a lot of tough injuries and knowing how to reduce swelling and slow bleeding up and stuff like that. I mean, he looked like Martin off that episode with Thomas Hearns. I'm like,
Absolutely.
God. I mean,
Absolutely.
I was looking, I was
And,
like, dang.
and I'm gonna tell you something. That's the reason why a Stitch Duran is so expensive, because tell me what fighter that he worked their corner, because he even works young prospects corners and stuff sometimes, right? So what fighter do you see whose corner he's worked end up looking like Lubin?
Never.
Thank you.
Goodness.
That tells you how good he is at his job. No more, no less. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to bring nobody down. I'm not trying to over criticize anything. I'm trying to point out the significance of having all your ducks in a row, because this is the difference between surging ahead and now taking a serious setback. You know, it's the difference.
Man, now you possibly what your jawline fracture, it's just swollen and just sticking out like a bent elbow. I'm like, goodness, man. But I mean, overall, we can't. I mean, salute to Fundora and Lubin. Lubin showed a lot of dog. He got knocked down. He came back and knocked him back down, and I was like, okay. But in the process, he stayed in the phone booth too long. And I was just like, come on, man. But then again, Fundora put the pressure on him and made it a phone booth fight. So it's not like Lubin had a lot of choices, So shout out to both men. I mean, hell of a fight, though.
Yeah, it was a great fight, man, and very competitive. This is also something that I've stated, on a regular, about these men fighting each other, because you don't know how good someone really is until they fight someone that on paper you just don't know who's going to win. And you have to really be honest, regardless of who you had going into the fight. You have to be honest and say you really didn't know who was going to win this fight, because each man has certain things that are advantageous. Just like with Fundora, we absolutely know straight up and down his advantage is fighting on the inside. But Lubin has power in both hands. He can pop. And if he had a disciplined game plan and could execute it, he could prevail. But no one saw him just going in there to lay inside with this guy, right? You would not have predicted that. And that's exactly what he did. And that's exactly what I would not have had him do. And I don't know if Mr. Cunningham's game plan for him was to do that. At some point, there would be moments where he does have to fight on the inside, but you can't languish in there to that man's strength. That's why he found himself on the canvas early in the fight, in the first round. How do you get knocked on your ass in the first round from doing exactly what you should not be doing? F plus.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And then, I mean, it was points like, I know you probably were seeing it, like, you get caught with 3 and 4 straight uppercuts. Like, oh, goodness, man. If one punch will get you up out of there, that uppercut will shake your brain up like a soda. I seen like a series combination of uppercuts. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh my God, he gonna get knocked out if he don't stop this. I'm like, man.
Yeah, those uppercuts. I'm looking at this comment by Khan Shonery. It says Lubin broke bones in this fight. The post-fight stuff is talking about nose, jaw, and eye socket damage. Yeah, but I'll tell you something. Move your freaking head. Huh? Any day now, huh?
Get your head off the line.
I think he just took a couple more uppercuts as we was talking, because it's like you know, that's the thing. That's the thing. You have to move. Earlier in the fight with Harrison and Garcia was taking jabs all night long through that fight, and his head was snapping back. I'm like, any moment now you can slip left or right, bro. It's not a law against it.
Mm-hmm. He did it against Fundora. He was slipping and turning and you know, stepping to the side and then a turn Fundora. And then I seen him tonight. I'm like, this just goes to show you that styles always make fights. Tony Harrison and Fundora have different fighting styles. But look at the outcome.
I bet you Tony Harrison won't languish on the inside against Fundora.
Oh no, I wouldn't even mind seeing that either.
And I bet you that he'll outbox Fundora, and he'll beat him with his jab.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I wrote in KQKC's chat, I said, on this night, Harrison is using an educated jab. This man knows how to use the jab. He varied that jab. He snapped it. He doubled up on it. Sometimes he shot it down lower and came back up. Sometimes he shot it up high and came down low. He used it defensively and caught the guy kept coming in as he was boom, pop him with it. He was doing it off of an angle. He looked like Larry Holmes using the damn jab tonight. You understand?
Yes, sir. He caught him with step back counters.
Let me say it. 503. I did send you the link already, bro. So check your email. The link has already been sent for you. But yeah, that's what that's about, man. And the guy, Fundora, he's not confident in his jab and boxing from the outside because of his extremities, because of his length and everything. You know how that you have some guys who are like big guys and they'll hunch or shrink themselves because they embarrassed for their size or even their height. You know, some people are, oh, you're a big guy, you're a tall guy, and they hunch a little because they hate always being put on spot. You know, somebody mentioning that or whatever. So they do things to kind of try to disguise it, even though they can't. But it's like it's a mental thing. So with Fundora, it's a mental thing about boxing because there is nothing about his extremities that say he should only fight on the inside. If the man can box from the outside and learn to do that as well as he fights on the inside, because he does fight very well for his height on the inside, he would be a force to be reckoned with. But because he has that mental factor, you have to be able to capitalize on it.
Yeah. The only thing he did was just come straight forward. You know what I'm saying? He put up his high guard, lean, put his body weight and lean his momentum against you, and y'all pretty much shoulder to shoulder.
Not the high guard, not the high guard, because I want to tell you something about the high guard. There's a way to break through the high guard and break a fighter down with the high guard, okay? And experienced fighters who know those things always damage guys with the high guard. You want your guard to be where if you're southpaw or orthodox, whichever is your power side hand, you want that hand to be right near your chin, not on the side. You know, you got these people that use these terms nowadays. We never used them before, but now they say stuff like hold the phone. No, hold the phone. You're taught to keep that if just say for orthodox, that right fist right in front of your chin. The reason you keep it right in front of your chin is because if a jab comes, you can catch that jab, you can knock it down, or if a shot is coming to the left or the right, you just move your hand a little bit to the left or the right, and that's built-in defense. The left hand, which is your jab hand, should be leveled and equal with your shoulder. Okay, the top of your glove should be near where your shoulder is. Okay, and the reason that is because anything coming over the top on that side, if you raise your arm up just a couple of inches, the shot goes off your arm. Okay, and you haven't left hardly anything open. The time that you're open is when you throw a punch, because both hands being at home, you're not open. But as soon as you stick one hand out to throw, whether it's a jab, a hook, a right hand, an uppercut, as soon as you do that, you're now open. So a fighter who's experienced and knows what shots to throw, like earlier this evening we saw Tony Harrison, he knows the shots to throw. So as soon as that arm moves or whatever, he knows, once he gets your timing down and stuff, he knows the shot to counter you with. You see? This is why I don't have any appreciation for those guys who like to drop that lead hand down by their waist.
I can't stand that.
Because what you've done is you've created a bridge from the other fighter's fist to your chin. It's just a matter of the guy crossing the bridge. And the other thing I don't like is guys dipping over to their right, just dipping over to their right all the time. If you want to learn a lesson about dipping over to your right, watch a heavyweight fight between Lennox Lewis and Razor Ruddock, and see what happens when a guy that dips to the right meets the perfect response. Lennox Lewis and Razor Ruddock. Perfect example. I would show that to anybody in class to say, hey, this is what you do not want to do. Dip over to your right if you want to. And if you're a southpaw, it's the other side. You're dipping over to your left. You get your head handed to you. You understand? So that's the thing. Want to welcome my brother, 503 Lion. What's good with you, man? Welcome to the show.
What's going on with it, fellas? Salute OG. Salute G5. Yeah, man. I was just listening.
brother?
I was listening to y'all, man. Cook, man. I jumped in the shower, man, and was like, man, I need to find something to watch, man. And lo and behold, OG Sensei was on. So yeah, man, it's good catching you post fight, man. It's always good to listen to somebody that know what the fuck they talking about. But for me, man, watching Tony Harrison, he looked the hella good. And that was a good reference point you used as regards to possibly seeing him in Fundora fight. But I'm gonna keep it real, man. I don't think PBC wants that, because stylistically,
Yeah.
stylistically, that's a bad matchup for Fundora. And I think Samson and Al and Sam Watson, I think those guys got other plans for Fundora. They want to put him in there with Charlo and Castano. That's something they want to do. That's why they building this kid into a future champion. But like I say, eventually he's gonna lose. And he damn near lost tonight. And I'm glad I picked your live stream to listen to, Sensei, because you hit it right on the head as regards to the corner man and the assistants, right? We don't normally pay attention to that. But like I say, guys like you know what I'm saying, that's looking at it, you know what I'm saying, from a coach's perspective, you see the little small, it could like small details, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't see like no ice, you know what I'm saying, no ice being applied. I don't know what is called, OG, when
The
they
end swell. The end
yeah, the
swell.
hand swell. I didn't see that being applied. I even remember one round, Coach Cunningham goes to squeeze some water. They ran out of water.
I'm telling you, man, it's like, you know what? And
Yeah.
think about it like this. If it's crisis, your man he's sustaining damage, and stuff like that happens, you start to panic. you know, it's more stressful now. Now you're rushing through, you're trying to, you know, it's amateur night. I talk about that all the time. And it's like, it's never me, like I said, and it's not me explaining myself, because I don't think I have to explain myself, but I understand what transpires. My knowledge of the sport, it goes very deep. And that's why I can talk about these things, because listen, I had a chance to meet Coach Cunningham many years ago when one of my friends had moved out on the West Coast to train and everything. And he was asking me, man, come on and move out here with me. I didn't want to move out there. I didn't want to do that. But at the same time, it wasn't like, oh, I thought I was too good or anything. Like, it's just that we were living different types of lifestyles, and I wasn't going to be a part of that. It was my choice. But as far as when we were here in the Shy and we working in the gym, we doing things, it's like, dude, my mind goes through all of these scenarios, all these breakdowns. It's like knowing these things, it's like second nature. It's like knowing what it feels like. You got your nice threads on, but you always check your fly and make sure it ain't open, right? It's like, yeah, you know, because you a grown man walking down the street with his fly open, that's kind of like, you don't really think, you know, what's wrong with him? Zip your damn pants. You know what I'm saying? So why are you coming to the ring and you don't have the tools that are necessary in the event if something takes place?
Yeah. And
You
then
can go out there and your guy can clash heads in the first round and have a damn hematoma on his head like Hassan Rahman had when he fought Evander Holyfield. What are you gonna be doing? What are you gonna, you know, nobody ever saw that before. It was like, man, it looked like he had a brick under his skin, didn't it? And it was like, but you know, you have to have people ready to deal with crisis. And especially if you see something like I just mentioned and it never happened before, then you know, okay, well, that can happen. You make a check mark on it and be prepared for that. It may never happen. Your fighter could fight 60 fights and it never happened. You might not even have to ever pull out the Answell. But it's like, if you got it, you ready. I'd rather have it than not, right?
And another thing too, I
Did
just
somebody throw the ice from the crowd at Lubin corner? I was like, what the?
That was probably Lubin's family. That was probably Lubin's family. They probably got mad that he was stopping the fight and threw something up there like that. Not really, you know, it was reactionary. But
right.
But once they
because Lubin was winning the fight, he was winning.
Right.
He was up on all the scorecards in this, and I feel so bad for him, man. I really do, man, because I seen this kid literally have a second lifeline in boxing. And G5 knowing you know as well, OG. Shit, you've been doing this shit for years. When motherfuckers get knocked out in boxing in this era, not in your era, but in this era, they pretty much done for. And this kid revived himself, you know, got 6 wins with Coach Cunningham, and now he in the biggest fight of his life. He winning, going through a little adversity, but he fighting through it. And then, you know, this kid he fighting just rallying, and then he bounced back. And, you know, they stopped the fight. So I understood why his family was upset, but you a coach, man. Like, Lubin face did not look normal. That was not normal.
No, he has sustained a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And the damage that he sustained happened. Okay, remember in the round that I think that was the 7th round. I mentioned it once before, where he dropped Fundora. But Fundora was really winning that round, running away, landing all those uppercuts and stuff on him. I think that's like the round that he really got beaten up, even though he scored the knockdown himself. But that was a round where a lot of shit happened, because if you think about it, when the next time you saw him, he was like, oh my God, what the fuck? His face was like Quasimodo. You know, he was really jacked up, man.
He got hit with like 4 straight uppercuts. I was like, God, Jesus, man. Yeah. And it was flush uppercuts. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like, oh, look, one of those grazing uppercuts. They was connecting like solid. I'm like, damn,
like the Mike Tyson shits back in the early 80s and 90s. Yeah.
man.
Mike
Everyone, every time he hit him, you just see his head just going back. Boom, boom. I'm like, whoosh, man, this is rough. And I seen him take a big exhale going back to the corner after that round. Like he was like, "Oh shit." I was like, man.
Yeah, it was rough, man. It was rough. I want to say salute to L Dub out there. I see L Dub boxing out there. Appreciate you stopping in, L Dub.
Yeah, salute L Dub. I want to say this though, real quick, OG. Why it's on my mind, man.
L Dub.
I want to say, man, after all these fights and stuff he had with Coach Cunningham, man, I would like to think that Lubin would have been prepared for an uppercut. And it's no slight to Coach Cunningham. This is more so a Lubin thing because I'm pretty sure, the coaches has been telling him, you know what I'm saying, move your head, turn them. I was listening to Coach Cunningham telling some good shit, but I mean, dude, you got knocked out with the same fucking punch. You know what I'm saying? When you had your last big fight, it was a short, up close and personal uppercut. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you lost tonight. Was because of that. Fundora wasn't hitting him with just straights. It was them short under punches that was giving him problems.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Fundora fights short. He's a tall guy. I say it all the time. He's 6'6" fighting 5'6". That's them type punches. Like I say, that's the shit that Mike Tyson do. Mike Tyson had to fight like that because he was a shorter heavyweight. So he had to get on the inside and turn his punches real short and crisp. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say it right here, man. I don't know if Lubin gonna bounce back from this, man. He might be a gatekeeper at best, man. I'm just being honest.
It's gonna be tough for him. It's gonna be tough for him. That's not gonna be an easy thing for him to do. The damage is the thing. I said earlier. Salute to Constantine 752 for subscribing. I said that this kind of damage that he took in this fight is like taking fights off of his career. It's like a few fights less, for him because of what happened. And that's unfortunate. But to speak to what 503 was also saying about the plan of, thought he would be prepared to, get out of the way of the uppercuts or whatever. He wasn't supposed to languish on the inside like he was doing. He just played to Fundora's strengths. And that was okay. I appreciate you, 503, man. Appreciate you, bro. He was supposed to get in and get out on the side, get out on an angle, not languish on the inside. And I mean, that's just asking for trouble. That is, it simply really is asking for trouble. We had a couple people out there in the chat. I know my man L Dub, if you want to get on and say some things, hey, you're more than welcome. Just let me know in the chat. I'll shoot you the email. But let's move on. G5. I know, we were hanging on this Lubin fight. That was the last fight of the night. But unless you got one last, point you want to make on it or something, we can move on.
No, you can go. You can move on, OG. I mean, okay. I think that fight stuck out because it was more the matchup, the size, the two fighters. It was like one of the more intriguing fights that people was dying to see and how it played out. So I think that's why it kind of got a little bit more attention than the way it ended as well. So yeah, we can go on to the next one.
Yeah. And someone in the chat had mentioned something about questioning off strength, I think said it about he looked like he got beat with loaded gloves. Let me tell you something, man. I won't even go there But as much as we've talked about, you know, things not being right, if there were nobody in there watching this man get his hands wrapped, watching the gloves being put on, again, that's his fault. That's Lubin's camp's fault. You know what I mean? We talked about this. We've given examples. We've shown different things. Because people still do other things. Putting water on wrapped hands could make the hand wraps form into a cast by the time you get to the ring, especially if you wrap your hands early. You know, by the time you get to the ring, it's like a cast. Plaster. Absolutely. And it happens a lot, more than we know, you know. But again, if you don't have experienced people working your camp, those are some of the things that you can, you know, fall ill to. And I'll just leave that at that. But let's dial it back to the Tony Harrison fight, because then we'll move to another card. But the Tony Harrison fight against Sergio Garcia was a good performance for Harrison to get back on the winning track of things and shake out some cobwebs and things of that nature. And it was a great opponent for Harrison to look good against. The one thing about Garcia's aggression is he has the type of aggression that keeps him in the fight. Even though he's losing rounds, he still looks good losing rounds because of his aggression and the type of aggression he brings. But Harrison picked him apart, and I said earlier, he was carving him up like an early Thanksgiving turkey, man. He was like really putting a number on that cat. And like I said, it was a seminar on how to use that jab. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
It was like really, you know. But it's nice to see him get that victory. So now his hat can be thrown back into the arena of getting right back up there for another title shot soon. So we'll see what happens. Your thoughts?
I think it was a very good performance. You know, we know he lost his dad, so I knew the first fight he had after losing his dad, I knew his emotions and, you know, his focus would be shaken or rattled, you know, due to, you know, his dad being his trainer in his corner, and now you got to get adjusted to a new voice and a new command and cadence that you hear in the corner. And I mean, it's your father, so I mean, yeah, I knew he'll be, you know, his emotions will be kind of, you know, all over the place, and you know, he'll be kind of not as tuned in as he usually is. So I didn't, you know, I heard a lot of people like trying to get on him hard, you know what I'm saying, about his last fight, his first fight after, you know, his dad passed. But I was just like, nah, man, Tony Harrison ain't ducking no smoke, and homie got the goods. So I'm gonna allow him another fight or two, you know what I'm saying, to get his bearings back, and then when I see how he goes from there. And then y'all see Sebastian Fundora, he went to a decision with Sergio Garcia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Remember, he was doing some stuff and touching up Fundora. He even rocked and hurt Fundora in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So
and he didn't always languish on the inside like Lubin did.
No,
he attacked from different angles and stuff like that.
And that's one thing I noticed about it. I was like, man, hey, the plan Garcia had, you know, for the Fundora fight was, it just shows the difference in styles, man. Shows that styles will always make fights. Like you can't, it's no joke. Styles make fights. And look at Tony Harrison. He got the toying and playing with Sergio Garcia. Like he put the jab wherever he wanted it. Triple jab, double jab, up low. I was like, ooh, wee. But I'm happy for him.
And he didn't, and Garcia didn't put in any body work hardly either. It's like you have to understand that's always, you know, putting something in the basement, as they say, is it leads to other things down the line. I keep saying about these young fighters is like, man, they don't, you know, sometimes when guys do stuff, they do it by accident. And then other times when guys do things, it's like, you know, they get surprised at the results. It was like, listen, man, boxing is so fluid that no one fight can be like another fight, but you can have similarities, but it's like it's its own narrative, how it leads and ends up at a certain point. The fight that took place first on the Showtime card that saw the Roy Jones protege and that kid, what's his name? Brian Perella. Brian Perella, he took on Kelvin Salgado. You know, trying to fight like Roy Jones, man. I don't know why he continues to train his pupils to try to fight like him. You can just train them to fight. Don't train them to be in your posture, how you held your hands and stuff like that. Because again, you had a special type of talent and blessing of athleticism that everybody ain't gonna be born with. You're gonna get some people beat up out here trying to do what Roy did. And that fight ended up being a draw, a split decision draw, when I actually had him winning the fight, really running away. But see, when you fight like that, and Roy was disappointed with the decision also, but it was like at no point did Roy encourage the guy to go in there and close rounds out, to do something, let your hands go, run some numbers off on the guy. He just was telling me, oh, you're doing good, this and that. It's like, you don't never know what these judges are thinking. You don't never know. And all of that laying back he did and everything. The opponent, he didn't look good at all. I didn't give him, I don't think I gave him but maybe one round. I don't know. I'm looking at my scorecard. Yeah, I gave him 2 rounds out of the 10. The Kevin. And he may not have really earned that, but the judges scored it a split decision draw. That's all on Roy, man. That's on Roy, the coaching. You know?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, OG. It's like it's okay to be a student. That is okay. It's okay to look up and you might even idolize them. But you supposed to take the stuff that they did well and apply your own sauce to it and, you know, create your own style. But a lot of people, they try to be a carbon copy of the person that they're being trained by. You can never be this person.
Absolutely.
You can learn from his experiences and the things that he went through and that he's able to see and able to teach you. But you can't never be a carbon copy of this man. And yes, you are absolutely right. Roy Jones' athleticism was on 1 million. Your reflexes were on 1 million. So some of the stuff that you were able to do, it's a small percentage of people that may be able to do that. And I guarantee you, they're not in your gym, unfortunately.
And there's something I want to say, because when we switched to the DAZN card, talking about Ryan Garcia, I want to say something about the Rosado and Mosley Jr. fight, but off of what these comments we're saying about Roy Jones and his pupil. But let's move real quickly to the ESPN fight main event, because I didn't care about the Maloney brothers fighting. I did see their fights. I'm still not impressed with those dudes, man. But the main event was Michaela Meyer taking on Jessica Hahn. And Jessica Hahn is an experienced veteran that has been in with some pretty darn good fighters herself. I think she fought Katie Taylor as well. But let me say this about Michaela Mayer, man. That woman can fight. She
Mm-hmm.
can fight, man. And she's strong. She doesn't look like a physically empowered fighter, right? She has the build of like a person who runs track or something, you know? But she's
Range.
strong, man. She's strong as an ox. And her last fight against Hamadouche, it
Mm-hmm.
brought something out of her because Hamadouche was the kind of fighter that'll jump on you with a lot of pressure and a lot of volume of punches. And she rose to that level to defeat Hamadouche. And now that she knows that she can go to another level, she's actually fighting like Hahn. Hahn didn't win a round, bro. She didn't win a round. Michaela beat that woman up, had her busted up by round 4, bleeding from the nose and the mouth and everything, and just
Mm-hmm.
basically took the fight over. And Hahn couldn't do anything but just kind of move around, throw some shots, you know, but she wasn't physically able to keep Michaela off of her, and Michaela just basically had her way. But I liked her performance. I love where she's going. I'm loving where women's boxing is going, man. These
Yes.
women are sorting it out, bro. They are sorting it out.
They lining it up. Straight up.
Big
They
time.
lining it up, OG.
And
And they
they're
ready to
performing.
go. And they
Were
ready to
you
go.
able to see any of it?
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts?
Hey, what you said, I think the last fight against Hamadouche woke up a monster inside of this woman. Like, sometimes some people it take one fight to for it to really light or ignite that fire that's really on the inside, and then they prove it to themselves, and then they like, I can go to a whole nother level, and I'm still okay. And she like, oh, y'all in trouble now. I found a new level. Now I can level up and take it to this level every time I go out and fight. And if the fighter match it, I'm gonna push it and go to a higher level. And
Yep.
she may find out something else about herself. That's when you pushing and testing your gut, your will, your attrition, your skill. You putting it all out there, because if it's a barrier, you're gonna knock on that door, knock it down. Okay, this fighter met me here. Now I got to go up another level and rise. And that's when you see some of the best fights and get the best out of fighters. So I'm happy with her performance, and I'm looking forward to see what's going on. I can't wait to Serrano and Taylor. Lord, man, I'm itching for these fights, man. So
Yeah, absolutely,
women's
man.
boxing is absolutely, I mean, it's heating up. If they attach the rocket to women's boxing, it's taking off. It's like it's taking off.
Big time, big time. And I like to see what's next. Mayer, if she gets a chance to fight Katie Taylor or somebody like that, or the Serrano winner, it's like that's gonna be interesting, man, because
Mm-hmm.
these they have class. They are showing it too. So much respect to them for getting that off. Um Now, before we get into the evening the zone card, let's hop ahead in the schedule of earlier this morning, where we got to see Triple G taking on uh
Hmm.
Murata. And this was a fight that I made a lot of jokes in fun of last night because of Triple G being 40 years old, if not older. And
Hmm.
he's been hanging around waiting for an opportunity to possibly get at Canelo again, but not wanting to fight his contemporaries. Now, the thing about not fighting his contemporaries is that some of them have graduated in class to be either at the level he is or possibly surpass, and they don't want to rock the boat with Triple G. And it really goes back to when he was asked about facing Andre Ward, who at that time was at 168 pounds. and he denied wanting to face Andre Ward and said that there was, levels between he and Ward, that he didn't think he was in Ward's class. He actually said that himself. So the thing is that if he felt that way about Ward, you have to understand that he felt that way about certain other fighters too. And those same fighters are still around. Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, even now a new person to the mix is Jaime Munguia. And there are fighters who can challenge him. Any of those three that I just mentioned, had they fought him on this morning when he fought, probably get the victory over him. This guy Murata fought like a guy who didn't know what he was doing, but was having success by doing it. And then when he got a little, winded, and then he got hurt a little bit, he collapsed, because I'm going to tell you something. That point when Triple G knocked that mouthpiece out of his mouth, I think that took all the fight out of that kid, because from that point on, not only in the rest of that round, because that happened early in the round, but not only in the rest of the round did he not really put up a fight anymore, but he just kind of went into survival mode for the rest of the fight. And Triple G was glad for that, because he was kind of winded himself. And then he just turned it on with power shots and made his way through the guy. But early in the fight, when Murata was going to Triple G's body, which is the home cooking that we talk about, put something in the basement early on, he was having some success. And Triple G was blowing by round 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm watching this stuff and I'm saying to myself, man, really? But the guy is finished, man. He's at the end, Triple G. He's at the end. What are your thoughts, G5?
Man, he burnt toast. He burnt toast, OG. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Got here a little bit too long in the tooth. I think it was like round 7 or something. He looked so damn slow. It's like you would thought he had a damn weight vest on in the ring. I'm like, damn, he moving slow. But, age, layoff, not being active enough. So, I mean, he got the win, and I agree. I mean, Murata, he just looked like, I'm doing something, but it's actually working. Let me just keep on going and see how long this could take me. And if I can get him, I can get him. If I don't, then oh well. That's just the type of mentality I felt like Murata had. Like, I'm just gonna go, and this is what I'm gonna do. And if it work, it worked. If he knocked me out, he knocked me out. That's kind of how I just got aura off him like that. But Triple G, in a sense, I mean, if you fight Canelo next, man, you going to sleep. Canelo gonna knock your ass out. This time, he gonna put you to sleep.
Yeah,
Canelo,
slow you could believe Canelo watched that body work that Murata put in. He watched that, and if that's one of Canelo's strengths, is his body work. He can get those body punches in there, and that'll get Triple G on up out of there. That'll get him on up out of there. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And they and I said this last night. They found a guy who was actually off longer than Triple G for him to fight. That's the thing that's really funny too in all of this. The long layoff he had, he ain't fought in well over a year, right? And then he fights a guy that ain't fought in well over that plus some. Like, really? Y'all really gonna do us like that? That's why I was laughing about it last night, man, because I'm like, the public is so gullible, but they pull these things off, and then they make it look like, oh, he still got it. No, he don't.
Right.
Like, who you think he's crapping on this stuff?
And then,
man?
You know what else funny? Murata fought he was either 14 or 11. The number 11 and 14 fought, and they became the number 1 for Triple G. You make that make sense.
It don't. It don't.
How you off 2.5 years? You fight number 11 or number 14, because I think you was 11 in Murata, and you win and you become Triple G mandatory. Okay. Then the math don't even add up. But hey, we know what that is. So hey, he got the result, he got his paycheck. So they trying to sell this Canelo fight, but Canelo is over there like, you
But
can't be serious.
Listen, I am of this. I said this a long time ago, just like how I feel like when Canelo said he wasn't going to fight no more Mexican fighters. He said that because he saw David Benavidez way before everybody else did. And don't forget, news travels in the boxing circles, in the gyms and everything. So they were like, hey, man, this kid is coming, and that's one guy you don't want to fight. And he said, okay. So when he got on there and grabbed that mic after beating up, who was that he beat up when he said he didn't want to fight? Was that Chavez Jr. that he beat up? And then he said, I'm not fighting no Mexican fighters no more. See, that was a long time ago, but people don't have tunnel vision. They don't have that focus and be able to say, oh, this is why he's doing it. No, he saw that kid coming, meaning Benavidez. He saw that. And he knew the game he was going to be playing with everybody else, the duck and dodge game. But this is where I wanted to go with this. It was always Canelo's plan to fight Triple G a third time. He just made it appear like he wasn't interested in fighting Triple G another time. What he wanted to do was age Triple G out so that the next time that he fights him, he gets a stoppage. And it will look better on his resume because they had a trilogy. And in the final fight, he stops the guy. It is tailor-made that this is the whole thing. Acting like Triple G don't deserve another fight with him and he has no interest in it and all of that stuff. That is for the movies. Okay? I can read Canelo like a book, man. This guy is so full of it. And the thing about it is, Triple G is dumb enough to think that he still can do something with Canelo. Why do you think Canelo went up and fought heavier fighters and stuff like that? It's all designed so when he gets in there with this dude, even if it require for him to go toe-to-toe, which he didn't do in both fights, remember. But if it required that he go toe-to-toe, and this fight showed you that Triple G ain't the same anymore. So against Murata, who banged him a few times with body shots and had him doubling over, that's not even Canelo. So the stage is set, man. All he has to do is get through Bivol. And the whole thing with Bivol is this. I believe Bivol is on the take, just like Kovalev was. These guys are lined up. This is why they've been selected, because they will play the game. And it's all about bigging up this guy's career and his legacy. He's not doing it the natural way, which is to fight your contemporaries, because the guys he's fighting, they're not his contemporaries. They're in different weights and stuff like that. Oh, I'll fight him, but not him. I'm in the weight class with them, but I'm not avoiding them. Benavidez, Charlo, and Andre are right there. Why you ain't fighting those guys? They've been there since you was at 54 or 55, your own made-up weight class. Let us not forget that. He made up his own weight limit. And people have said, okay, stop with the foolishness. But this Triple G, okay, he beats Bivol, right? Now, what weight is he and Triple G going to fight at? Because if he beats Bivol, isn't that at 168 or 175? Where is it at? 175?
75.
So Triple G didn't even want to go up to 168. So where are they going to fight? Yeah. Answer that question. So if he's going to drop all the way back down and fight Triple G at a catch weight, why isn't Charlo Benavidez or Andre available? Why are you not considering them? See, do you see the play here? It's like, come on, man. Who are you crapping, bro? Go sit down somewhere. You know, I can see this stuff. This dude is a fraud, man. Now, that doesn't mean he's not a good fighter, because he is. But he's fraudulently playing the masses. The successes that he's having don't equate to being great. It's opportunity. When someone has an opportunity to do something and you take the opportunity and you have success, you're like, oh, I was able to do this. But that doesn't mean that you excelled. That was like a crack and you slipped through, or an opening and you walked through the door, or something like that. Who have you literally taken something from? Nobody. You've taken a butt whooping from Floyd Mayweather Jr., and then you took some stiff competition from Erisandi Lara, and then the other brother, what's his name? Can't think of his name right now. I can't think of his name. You got it, G5?
Who, Canelo?
Yeah, the Trout, Austin Trout.
Austin Trout.
Yeah. And made certain to never fight any fighters like that again. Because Demetrius Andrade is like a combination of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who you think you're fooling, man? You ain't fooling me.
Yeah.
But that's what I got to say about that. The Triple G thing, man. The dude is old. He ready to be set out to pasture, and they just setting it up. And he'll wait around another year for Canelo, and he'll be even a year older. And he ain't looked good in his last 3 fights. So there you have it.
He don't care. He don't care because he know he gonna get a nice, hefty check to get knocked out. Hopefully he not too jacked up, and he got a big bag to ride off in the sunset with. Plus he got stock in the zone, so whatever they doing, they still gonna have to pay him. So he good. He not tripping. That's why he ain't even worried about fighting. Shoot, I'm getting paid off the zone without even fighting. Shit.
Now, let's move on to the other DAZN card where we saw this evening. The main event was Ryan Garcia taking on Emmanuel Tago. And I want to talk about the co-main first. And that's the WBA super welterweight fight that took place between Gabe Rosado and
Sugar Shane
Mosley Jr. Let me say something about that fight, bro. Salute to Pac-Man Tay out there. I see you out there, Tay. Welcome to the show, bro. And let me get back to the super chat that we had. We had a super chat just a moment ago.
I heard it, big.
Yeah, 225 boxing talk percentage. He sent a super chat. We appreciate that, brother. Thank you for your super chat donation, man.
Tay Jones, what's good, Tay? Good work today too, my brother.
Tay is out there. The performance that Shane Jr. put on this evening was good. And man, he gave Gabe some problems. Gabe is coming off. You know what? You got to take your hat off to Gabe Rosado, man, because he has put on, over his last 4 or 5 fights, I mean, he's fought Danny Jacobs, Beck the Bully, Jaime Munguia, and now Sugar Shane Jr. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Gabe has been in there mixing it up, man.
He got rounds and experience. He a game dog.
And what I noticed from Shane this evening was this. And I happened to mention it in my in my Friday night show when I said that, you know, he's got DNA. That's what I said about him. I said he's got DNA. And what I meant when I was talking about him specifically, Liz, that his dad was talented. He has some strength and athleticism for the weights that he competed at that 130 pounds. You know, he was a beast. Shane Sr. At that weight and everything. So what he got from his dad is he got bigger size, but he has some speed and athleticism that his dad didn't have. His dad had fast hands, but he's a little bit more athletic than his dad, and he's a bigger man. When I saw him punching Gabe tonight, I'm like, holy shit, Gabe can't see his punches coming, because there's something that's telltale about, if you watch boxing, fighters who can't see the punches, they respond to them a lot differently than a guy who just takes a solid shot. He couldn't see Shane's punches. And I was so pissed at Shane that he wasn't doing one thing. Do you know what that one thing is, G5?
Let's see.
See if you could take a guess.
Well, I mean, he could have used his jab more consistently, and he could have worked the body a little bit more. Me, other than that, I think he did well.
Well, all the young guys can do that more. The thing that I saw that he didn't do, that if I wish off of his performance tonight, because we know that, you know, Shane Jr. has taken some losses, you know, and it's fights that he could have won, he didn't win, whatever. But he looked very good tonight. Off of his fight, his performance tonight, because he was in there with a grizzled veteran. That a victory over Gabe Rosado is tough. Just ask Jaime Munguia. You understand? So it's like what I saw tonight was he is not capitalizing on his hand speed by not punching in combinations. If he had punched in combinations, he would have put Gabe to sleep, because Gabe couldn't see the shots. He couldn't see them. And his hands were so freaking fast. He was reminding me of like Michael Nunn, because Michael Nunn was a buzzsaw like that. He could let off a series of combinations, and it's like the guys are covering up and stepping back and he would just hit Gabe with a single shot or a shot and throw it from a funny angle and catch him and shock him. So I'm like, man, if you follow that up with 3 or 4 more, he on the canvas, because he can't see the shots coming.
Yeah, and he
so
felt.
I'm watching this, I'm saying, oh, I would love to take this Shane Jr., put him in the gym, coach him up with some stuff, and turn his butt loose on that division, because he can do some things. Now, he doesn't take the best of punches. So that athleticism he has, and he does something very good with getting out of the way of a punch. He can do that thing that Roy used to do, step out of the way real quick, and it's like your punches fall short. He's got that, and he's young enough to still capitalize on that for a minute. But you add a few defensive tactics to what he's doing and get him to punch in sets. You can jab, you can double jab, but when you follow that jab up with some heat, make sure it's 3 or 4 punches, because you will catch somebody sleeping on that. And that's what I saw tonight, and I was very excited of it. He got a little winded after the 7th or 8th round. He was slowing down a little bit, but I think that was only because of he was feeling the pressure of the moment. He was like, it was getting to him a little bit, but they could have settled him down and got him to finish up even stronger. But see, these are the things that I'm able to assess just simply by, I was watching it and I'm like, and again, he come from good stock, man. It's like, he's not a chump. It's just that I think that he's kind of one of those guys that got caught in the midst of being the son of a legend, you know, and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. You know, if he wasn't Shane Mosley's son, you know, he could fly under the radar a little more and things could be a little different. But because he's Shane Mosley's son, there's a certain amount of pressure that comes with his performance and this and that. But man, he needs a really good trainer right now. I don't know who this guy is that's working with him right now, but I think he really needs a really good trainer and someone that's going to get him to throw punches and combinations because like I said, what I saw from that hand speed,
Mhm.
man, you can, man, when you got hand speed like him, it was bringing back memories of Meldrick Taylor, you know, when I was watching him. I'm like, Meldrick could run a 10-punch combination off like nothing. And he wasn't the biggest puncher, but he could get those shots off. And they're all clean, solid shots because he knew how to throw them and everything. That's what Shane is missing. That's what he needs to get and add to his repertoire. Yeah.
And Medrick and them, they know how to put the punches on the button. Where they wanted to land, it was gonna land. If they wanted it on your jawline, it was gonna cover your whole jawline. So then it was consistent. You know, you might not have to been the biggest punch, but you get hit with 3 of them, you going down.
And
You
did you
know,
see when he was landing those left hooks to Gabe's
man.
body, he was like, you know, doubling him over, just like Triple G was doubling over when he caught those left hooks to the body. It's something about those shots you can't see, man. They
I
have
seen him
added
one of
effect.
those rounds. I seen him catch Gabe with a mean right hook. I mean, he put a lot of stank on you on it, and Gabe still didn't see it, and he took it though. Boom! I'm like, man, if you follow that up with another a body shot to the solar plex or to the ribs and come back up top because he couldn't keep up with his hand speed.
Right.
Like he got the hand speed honest. Like you your dad's child. But I will say this. Yeah, that's something that he can continue to work on. But he looked better this fight than he did his last fight. So there is improvement there. So, you know, whatever the switch in the training is, hey, that was a nice adjustment. Now they need to keep fine-tuning his game
And
and add
build
more
on it.
rounds. Yes. If they can do that, you're gonna wake up a beast, like a real beast, because you can't coach speed. That's one thing you can't coach. You can't go buy it at the store. You know
You
what I'm
sure
saying?
can't. You
You,
sure can't.
you
That's
got
why
it
I'm
or you
talking
don't.
about, you know, I would be excited to work with that kid because he has some things that he can definitely capitalize on that some of these other dudes wouldn't be, you know, wouldn't be up to snuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And with that speed, you can pop a piston jab out, you know, the people at will. Bam, 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 triple it up, double it up. And if they try to throw something, since your hand speed is so quick, you can counter them, pull counter the shit out of people with hand speed. He can pull counter, man, but that's gonna come in time with, you know, more repetitions. Pull counter and pop the hell out of him. Bam, bam. Because he got the hand speed. Like I was sitting there, like, dude, yeah, you got some quick hands, and you're bigger. That's why I was like, yeah, you're a lot bigger than your dad. You
A
know,
lot bigger than his dad, you know.
he's
Amazing.
strong. He's pretty strong too. You know,
Yeah.
I know that he held his ground. Gabe just not no weak, weak dude. And he held his ground and was able to stand in the pocket and still throw off punches. I was like, okay, all right, Shane, I like that. And I was like, man, he jabbing the hell out of him too. He kind of abandoned it at times, but he does have a nice jab too. So I was like, yeah, it's a lot of room for growth and improvement there. And I think, he done settled down and got his heads out the clouds that, he's a, Hall of Fame son, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Now let's move on to the fight that was just before that. We'll just save Ryan for last and close things out. But the WBC and WBA women's flyweight championship between Marlon Esparza and Naoko Fujiko. I think her
Something
name is,
like
the Japanese champion who was Japan's only 5-time champion or something like that. She is an amazing fighter who was risking her title on the line against Marlon, and a good damn fight again with these women, man. And just watching them mix it up, because Marlon had to make some adjustments in the fight when she first tried to go at uh Naoko. She went at her physically. uh she found that the woman was strong but still had solid technique, and
Mhm.
so she had to back that up and start boxing a little more and picking her shots and stuff like that. So it turned into a tactical fight. But what I noticed about Naoko, she didn't like the physicality aspect of things. She just wanted to box and be straight up, let me punch you with my left, right, my hook. But Marlon got in there and kind of became a bruiser a little bit, mixing things up, which in the end, it worked out for her, because I think it mentally played games on Naoka's ability to stay focused during certain rounds and things like that. But again, here we have the women competing at a very high level,
Mhm.
and with all of the experience that Fujioka had with her career, um, for Marlon Esparza to be able to come in there and become a unified champion in this fight on this night, that's an accomplishment. And I've been talking up the women in boxing because they've been doing some great things over, I want to say, since 2021 up to now. They have taken some tremendous strides in the sport, and they are representing, man. And, as much as I can, I will talk about them and give them their shine, because they're deserving it.
Mhm.
You got any thoughts on the fight, or did you see it at all or anything?
I would say this. Remember, it was like a couple months ago. It was even before the Serrano and Taylor was fully announced. We had a live on your show, and we was just talking about the women. I think it was doing the Clarissa Shields card, her last fight, and we were
Mhm.
talking about the women, and we really put emphasis and was expressing, in the chat and to the people, that like we got it, between what we know, we talking about them, and we're gonna keep highlighting these women and their endeavors and their accomplishments, because they're making the fights that need to be made, and they putting on like they on fire right now, and I think, not saying everybody in this chat, but I think that went over some people's head. Like, man, these women, like, they're getting more motivated by Serrano and Clarissa Shields, even Savannah Marshall, or Jessica McCaskill. I mean, look at McCaskill. She's 37. I mean, like 12, 13 fights in, but hey, they getting it done. So for the women, I'm gonna keep talking about them as well, and try to keep shining the light bright as I can on them, because at this point, the women are turning up in boxing. You know, um, one of the champs, in the flyweight, well, I think she like 40 something. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just like, even at that age, 44, 46, however old she is, it's like, look at the conditioning, and this just still the mental fortitude to still try to be a champ. I'm just like, the fight was good. You know, um, I look at the women and I see a lot of dog in them, like they getting to it. So, I mean, with this fight here, I mean, you have a younger fighter and you have an older fighter on a pretty long in the tooth, and it still turned out to be a technical battle, and shout out, shout out to those women, man. That's all I can pretty much say. It was just a pretty hellified night of fights.
Yeah.
And get these women they flowers, man. They in here getting it in and going for the gusto. If it's another belt they need to try to get, you don't hear a whole lot of BS and bickering and arguing. They just making the fights, and I'm
Yeah.
cool with it. And a lot of the men need to take a page out of this book and take a page out of even the young goons. It's males in boxing, like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. They taking pay cuts and wicked, crazy, absurd contracts. Why? Because they believe they can win. They believe in and they testing their greatness. So, on that fight there, I mean, technical battle. I mean, it was just a great night of boxing. That's all I can say on that, man. It was a real good, solid night of boxing.
Yeah.
And all day was, it was a lot of good cards all over the place. You know what I'm saying? If you're a fan of boxing, hey, this is a great day.
Yeah, I agree. And coming to the end of everything, the fight with Ryan Garcia and Emmanuel Tago, that fight right there, it's interesting because Ryan has had his druthers and the thing, that has kept him out of the sport for a long time. And to see him now come back and he's with Joe Goosen now and everything, and they picked a guy who was small enough that wouldn't be a threat to hurt him, but someone who was durable enough to go and give him rounds, which is what he really needs. He needs rounds in the sport of boxing, and he got rounds. He threw a lot of power shots in this fight. He was trying to take the guy's head off, but Tago didn't cooperate. He did score a knockdown in the second round, and it was a legitimate knockdown after seeing the replay and everything. But Ryan is going to have to learn how to box. Now, I understand he has somewhat of an amateur career and everything, but in the professional ranks of boxing, you cannot rely upon a power punch that you might have, which is whether he thinks he's developed a right hand now or not, or the left hook that he throws. You're going to have some semblance of boxing ability because there are going to be times when you got to get in there and pull rounds out with skill, not guts, not laying it all on the line, but with your headiness, in boxing. Tonight was an opportunity for him to work on some things, and he didn't do that. He just every round he was in hot pursuit trying to get the guy up out of there, and he found himself tired as the rounds went on, and he ended up going the distance. And of course, when it was all over, he had some things to say that sound like a bunch of gibberish, but at the same time, the rounds were very important, putting rounds in. Because once you realize as a prospect that you can knock people out, that you got a power punch, that you could, lay a person, it's like now it's time to build on that. Build on how do we set the knockouts up? How do we go about, you know, breaking the guy down, working them to the body? Where am I within a round? Am I getting a little tired by this point in a round? Meaning like I learn how to rest with my jab, all these different things. That's what's supposed to transpire. And they don't, you know, and Joe Goosen, it's like, okay, apparently they have some type of relationship that extends to when Ryan was in his late teens or whatever. But Joe never got him to box in the fight at all. Never really got him to box. So I wonder, will he really be listening to Joe? It's just something there. And I talk about character a lot too. If a fighter has poor character, he will really, fighters will break your heart anyway. But poor character fighters will really crush your heart because that poor character has a tendency to show up at the most important times and for the fighter that has it, the wrong time. Huh? Yeah. But your thoughts, did you see any of this fight? G5. G5, you there? No, did he fall off
Yeah.
the mic?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
I said,
My head said this.
oh, did you see any of this fight?
Yeah, I watched pretty much the whole fight. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah. So, he just stalked Tago. He just followed him. Just like if it looked like a dog, a master and a dog. Like, I'm going this way. Come on, follow me. I'm going this way. He loaded up on every shot. Every shot he was just trying to take off Tago head. He's straight up. He's still, his chin was down more than he usually is, but he's just straight up. He's open for body shots. Tago was so I think he was physically I wouldn't say scared, but he was more intimidated by Ryan Garcia's size that he used lateral movement a lot more than he should have. Like, it was times where he could have just, stepped to the right or stepped to the left. And once he did that, he actually was catching Ryan with some stuff. But he was more so on a bicycle and moving around to this corner, that corner. And it was kind of got boring. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was doing that fight. I was like, man, hurry up and start Fundora and Lubin. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, after like round 6, I'm like, come on, man. You doing the same thing. I'm looking at Joe Goosen in the corner. It's like he wasn't even giving them instructions. He on one knee like a football coach, and the huddle just talking. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't instructions. Just, well, yeah, this, and this, and this, and this. Then I seen Ryan start breathing hard in the corner. I'm like, he's not really giving them instructions. Like, he telling them a secret or something over there. So every time he came out, he did the same thing. Nothing fancy, Did y'all peep the media workout? He had him hitting the speed bag, and then the standing speed bag, and just, weed this, weed that. If you're not gonna apply the stuff that you're doing or that you're working on and showing the media just for repetition or for clicks and views, then what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I didn't see you hit the heavy bag during that media day. It was just all about speed. And look, he mastered this the first week. The first week I taught him and showed him this. Okay, that speed bag is not gonna get you where this fighter needs to be. Like, you need to teach this man basic building blocks to use a consistent jab, set up punches off the jab. If you got decent hand speed and power, set it up off the jab. I'm like, bruh, the fastest way for a punch to land is in a straight line. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, that's one of the basic punches that you're supposed to learn in boxing, the jab. And I'm like, if he jabbed and controlled the fighting distance off a jab and then followed up with left and right hooks, and whether it be to the head or to the body, he probably could have stopped him, because he was gassing himself out, swinging for the fences, trying to knock him out with just loaded up shots. No technique, no strategy in it, just loading up and welling away. I'm like, oh, if you fight Devin or Tank or somebody like that, they're gonna eat you alive. Whoo, don't fight Tank. Tank gonna knock his chin to the stands, because he's staying straight up. Body is just totally exposed. I'm like, okay.
Well, one thing is that he didn't even put any body work in on Tago so he could get the guy to slow down with his movement and everything. So I don't know what Goosen was telling him either, because that's what I was saying. Is like, I don't even know if the kid listens, but again, there are so many things he could have done. He was halfway cutting the ring off, halfway, but you complete the process with punch placement, dropping the punches in the proper area to make certain that the guy, doesn't have the time or the space to get away. And mentally, he becomes fatigued, and next thing you know, you catch up to him and do what you need to do to him. But every round was a repeat of the previous round, with the exception that Tago started to let his hands go late in the fight, like it was round 9 and 10 and 11. And he decided he wanted to punch back every once in a while. But the first 7 to 9 rounds, it was like a replay. If you missed any of the earlier rounds, you were just seeing, the same crap over and over again. But personally, I think Ryan, he has some ability, but I also think that he may be a lost cause because they're allowing him to exist within that skin. That's kind of like a uncoachable thing. And when you have people like that, it's a waste of time, really. Because as soon as he gets in there with someone really good, then his inadequacies are going to be magnified. Then it's going to be somebody else's fault and people get fired and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, you were the one that weren't doing the things that you should have been doing, you see. But I wouldn't work with a Ryan Garcia myself because, again, as I said, personality, the character tells me a lot. And that is just something that's ready to crash as soon as it gets the opportunity. You'll see what I'm talking about. We can always come back to this particular post-fight show and you don't say, well, Stormy said that a while back. Yeah, this is where we are now. Yep. What it's going to be. But yeah, go ahead and give us some final thoughts, man, and let everybody know where you are. You could put your link to your channel in the chat if you want. And I appreciate you joining me this evening so we could, have this discussion on today's events. We had a ton of fights, some of them overlapping. I was watching 3 devices at one time, man. I was, that's
I had
how
2
I got
going for the most part. Yeah. I had my phone, I had my tablet, and I was listening, watching a fight, listening to K2KC, and then looking at the fights on my tablet. So it was a heavy night of boxing. Not bad, man. I will say from 4 or 5 in the morning when the overseas card started. I mean, it was just a good day of boxing. And I agree with you. Somebody asked me my assessment of Ryan Garcia. I said it's a matter of a time before, he gets flatlined by somebody. He has talent, but it don't matter how much talent you got if your mental is not engaged in the sport of boxing. And your mental has to be intact if you plan on making it in the sport of boxing. Just look at some of the fighters who are mentally weak and look at the results. So shout out to the whole chat. Appreciate y'all pulling up to support my OG Stormybman. Y'all could have been anywhere else, but y'all chose to be here with Stormybman. OG, appreciate the invite as always. Always a good cook, good chop up session when we can get up and link up together. Y'all can find me at G5 Gabe, Instagram, YouTube. I have my Saturday show has shifted. So me and Kano, we working out that schedule since his schedule will change. It was at 1:30 on Saturdays, Central Time. But, we'll put out a PSA or let somebody know, we're going to be throughout the week now. So we'll, keep people updated on that. Other than that, I go live pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. You know, Central Time. Then on Tuesday night fights. Myself, Bruce Goes, George Jakovich. We on Bruce Gas channel. We go over fights, do interviews over there, and then just talk about classic fights and different things of that nature. So, y'all sub to those good men as well. And, Wednesday, Smoke City Mobcast, and I'm on Ricky Williams. So, man, I make my rounds. I get around, love the sport of boxing. I love cooking with good people, knowledgeable minds, and it's enough room for all of us to eat and grow in this sport and in this YouTube space. So again, appreciate everybody who already followed me and subscribe to me. Appreciate any upcoming follows who want to sub and subscribe to me. I appreciate it. I can't do anything without you guys subbing and liking and tapping into my content as well as Stormybman. So thank you guys for participating, interacting in this chat. And it's been a great day and great night of boxing. And all you good men and women, I have a great night. Enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. And like I always say, come in with the empty plate. I'm gonna fill that bitch up. Thank you, OG Stormy. We'll do this again, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you accepting the invitation. And because like for something as lengthy as what we had, I really wanted to have someone on with me to talk about the fights with, so we can project. I don't want to feel like I'm giving a lecture for so many fights that we had to go over and everything. And if you know, I focused on the featured bouts of each card. That's what the intent was there. So you did a great job with me and assisting with that, and I appreciate that as well. I appreciate everyone that came in, tuned in. We had a high number today. It's over 110 likes on the button already. So that meant a lot of people were listening in. I hope that people found this particular post-fight show entertaining and worth their while, and come back again. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We always have a post-fight show going after the cards in for the evening. So sometimes it's a little later than others, but at the same time, we try to bring a great perspective, a breakdown for the fights that we had a chance to witness. So I'm going to get ready to get on out of here. Got to get me some shut-eye. I got the call-in show in the morning. So, you guys who will return for that, appreciate that. Just come on back, be a part of that process. But yeah, salute to everybody that's out there. Smash that like button. If you didn't smash it on the way in, smash it on your way out. Salute to the mighty LDBC. Salute to everybody that enjoyed those cards today, man. And we'll be back for another one soon. Peace to everybody.
Peace.